Title 42, the immigration policy set during the Trump administration in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, will expire in 2 days, igniting new concerns over the chaos at our southern border. Now, fiscal year 2022 saw more than 2.3 million migrant encounters at the southern border, and with the 2023 numbers on pace to exceed that total already. Now, once Title 42 is lifted, an even greater surge of migrants is expected. Now, in response, many border cities have already declared a state of emergency. How should Congress respond to this? Joining me to discuss it is U.S. Representative Greg Steube. He served on the House Judiciary Committee and the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He represents the 17th Congressional District of Florida. Congressman Steube, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Now, the Biden administration is insisting that Title 42 will not create an insecure southern border. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my first reaction is we already have an insecure southern border. Since Joe Biden's taken office, they've had almost 5 million illegal immigrants. Just last month, there was over 220,000 illegal immigrants, which is more than one of the counties in my district to the entire population of that county. That's how many people we have coming in every single month. It's gotten worse as the rumors of Title 42 lifting has come about, and then it will be even more. But that's exactly what this administration has planned, is open borders. They want these individuals to come into our country. Otherwise, they would have shut it down. States have tried to take action, like put containers and all sorts of things in the gaps in the wall. And the Biden administration has sued them to stop Arizona and some of these other states from stopping the influx of illegal immigrants into our country.
The White House has come up with a new talking point on this issue. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre said that it's those who believe the border is insecure are actually causing the border issue and helping the smugglers. Let's play clip 6, and I want you to respond to this.
We know smugglers will try to spread misinformation to take advantage of these vulnerable migrants. But I want to be very clear here. The fact is that the removal of Title 42 does not mean the border is open. Anyone who suggests otherwise is simply doing the work of these smugglers who, again, are spreading misinformation and which is very dangerous.
Representative Steube, what's your response to the suggestion that you, as a critic of this policy, are the one who is spreading disinformation and, in fact, helping smugglers?
Yeah, from the spokesperson of disinformation, straight from Disinformation Center, right there in the White House, where lie after lie to the American people. Just look at the numbers, 220-something thousand last month. It was 200+ thousand the month before that. I think 4 million plus that have been encountered and apprehended, and then another 800 or 900,000 that we know that DHS knows are known gotaways. So 5 million illegal immigrants have come into our country, 98 of which are on the known terrorist watch list. And they're going to say that it's misinformation, that people like myself speak facts and speak truth over them, that the border is wide open.
Congressman Steube, one of the challenges here seems to be disagreement over the seriousness of this issue. Now, you just laid out some facts there, but over the weekend, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown on Meet the Press suggested that this is really just kind of a far-right issue. Let's play clip 1.
I don't hear a lot about immigration from voters except people on the far right that always want to gain political advantage by talking about it.
Well, in addition to that, I'm going to play one more clip for you. This is New York City Mayor Eric Adams, also a Democrat. He had a different tone on this issue. Let's play clip 2.
This is a national problem. El Paso shouldn't be going through this. Chicago shouldn't be going through this. Washington, Houston, cities should not be carrying the weight of a national problem. This is unfair to all of our cities to have to go through this without any help from the national government and the state government.
Congressman Steube, why is it that people seem to view this issue so differently in the seriousness of it?
Well, for so long, Democrats, especially in Washington, have got away with lying to the American people, and the mainstream media just repeats the talking points, and Americans believe them. But thankfully, over the last couple of years, the veil has been pulled back on the dishonesty of this White House and Democrats in Washington, and the American people are smart enough to know that 5 million illegals have come into this country. They're seeing them in communities all across the country. They're seeing them in Florida. They're certainly seeing them in border states like Texas. They're seeing the cost of our budgets that are spending money on the cost of illegal immigration into our country, from Medicaid, from emergency care, from all the food stamps, TANF, all of that on the cost of our nation. Americans are smart enough to see when they turn on Fox News and see the actual drone footage of thousands of illegals lined up at the border, and then they turn to CNN and MSNBC that's saying, oh, no, there's not a border crisis, which actually some of them are even now saying, yes, if Title 42 is lifted, it's going to be a border crisis. So they have lied to the American people for so long. They think that most of America is just going to believe them. But America is smarter than that. And they're seeing this footage every day on conservative outlets. And they know that this is going to be a problem that's affecting the safety and security of the American people.
Well, certainly New York City Mayor Eric Adams is no far right-wing MAGA Republican extremist. And so there does seem to be, at least in some quarters, a bipartisan agreement that this is a real problem. Now, Congressman Steube, I think we're breaking some news here. Earlier today, there were 19 conservative states that filed an emergency injunction request with the Supreme Court. And I believe I've been told in my ear that the Supreme Court has granted that. Now, are you aware of that? Any reaction to that potential development here?
No, I haven't been made aware of that, but that's great. Hopefully the court will get involved in this. That's really, now that we have the House, we can be a backstop from a financial perspective through the appropriations process. But we realize that if we pass a bill in the House, the Democratic Senate's likely not going to pass it. But that crux that we have is the appropriations process in the House. And you have even Republicans in the Senate working with Democrats to undermine that by trying to pass this omnibus. So hopefully the U.S. Supreme Court can help us breathe some sanity and legality into this. What is happening on our border every single day is in direct contradiction to the laws that Congress has passed. And hopefully the United States Supreme Court will get in and stop them.
Well, it seems that they have intervened for now. We will, of course, continue to track this developing story and provide more information as we have it. But Congressman Steube, Title 42 it's part of the Public Health Services Act of 1944, and it really is about controlling the spread of communicable diseases. Now, certainly during COVID, that was relevant to our border policy. But long term, that doesn't seem to be the right way to be dealing with our immigration policy. And right now, people seem to be dependent upon this communicable diseases statute to manage our immigration policy. What's the best approach long term, if not this?
Well, the best approach is to pass a huge immigration reform bill, which we will pass in the Republican majority in the House, but we're not going to hold our breath that the Democratic Senate's going to pass it. Shutting down the border, finishing building the wall for the safety and security of the American people, ending chain migration. There's a whole list of things that I have worked on, that the Judiciary Committee has worked on, that in a Republican House we will pass. That's the answer to a lot of this. Immigrants from all over the world. I mean, we've captured people, 98 terrorists, people from Syria, Iran, Lebanon, and other Middle Eastern countries from all over the world have been coming in because they know the border is broken and wide open, and this administration will do nothing to stop the influx of illegal immigration into our country. So Congress has to act. We will act in a majority House, but unfortunately we don't have a Republican Senate that's going to join us with that. But that's the real answer. We have to shut the border down. We have to put rules in place. And frankly, if you just enforce the law that is passed right now, all of these 5 million illegal immigrants would have never been able to get into our country. And then once their amnesty claims would have been found not valid, they would have been deported back to their home countries, or they would have been in Mexico or their home country when they filed their amnesty claims. And we wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with if this administration just simply followed the current law.
Now, so much of what you're saying there seems to be common sense to a lot of people who are following the developments and seeing what's happening at the border, which really in many ways is just a human rights crisis, because real people are dealing with really bad situations as a result, in many cases, of our immigration policy. But why does the other side not see this as common sense What is the nature of their opposition to the proposals that you've just suggested there?
Their opposition, of course, is 100% political. Look at their very first bill they filed this Congress, H.R. 1 and S1, would allow any illegal immigrant that is a resident in our country that is just here, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their citizenship of our country, to vote. This is 100% political. If Joe Biden cared about the safety and security of the American people, if he cared about the number one leading cause of death isn't COVID, but it's fentanyl for those between the age of 18 and 45, and we know all that's coming through the southern border. If they really cared about Americans, they would shut down the border and not allow the influx of illegal immigration to our country. But this is 100% political. They want to let as many people in as possible, give them the ability to vote in all of our states because they know that the majority of these people will vote Democrat. That is their plan, and that's why they don't care about this influx.
Congressman Steube, very quickly, one final question. The last round of Twitter files dropped last night. The primary focus was the influence of the FBI on Twitter. In about 30 seconds, a quick reaction to that?
Yeah, Judiciary Committee in the House is obviously going to investigate that. Thankfully, we now have evidence and facts to be able to bring in these individuals and depose them, and we're looking forward to doing that.
Congressman Greg Steube, thank you so much for your time and your vigilance, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.